related to Primerica, we have to put a disclaimer on the flyer. So I don't know if it's too late to change the flyer, but the flyer can be changed to include that.
Well,
the people.
let me speak on that real quick, Coach.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
What they meant was along with when you make the post at the top or the bottom, not actually on the flyer, because they wouldn't be able to click on it. Only because we recognize your income level. So what I did was I posted in the group the actual link, and when they click on it, it gives the average incomes, Primerica reps and all that kind of stuff. So all we got to do, if you post the flyer along with the flyer, post that link. So all everybody got to do, I put it in the group already. So all you got to do is, copy and paste it, and you're good to go.
Okay, that's good. So everybody heard that, pass that word on to your downline, because we don't want to get a call or a visit from the Primerica police. So make sure that we get on top of that. Anyway, this morning, we got some exciting things to share with you. We pumped up, we fired up, excited. It's going to be a beautiful day here in St. Louis. Hopefully it will be where you are too. And to carry us further into our program today is the fabulous, y'all know who it is on Wednesday morning, Iris. Bring it on.
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited, man. It's Wednesday, January the 13th, and we've got a year. I mean, no, I take that back. George, when do they stop counting the numbers for the convention? Like, is it May?
Yeah, it won't be until May.
Till May. Yeah. We got to find something to get us going across that stage. That's the whole objective, right? Get us going across that stage. So today I like to piggyback off of what Brandon teaches on Tuesdays. Because yesterday, he's been focused. I noticed, Brandon, am I right? Building. Everything is about building right now, right? So
yes, ma'am.
It's my belief that you begin with the end in mind, right? And the first contact that we have with a client one-on-one is really our presentation. And there's a purpose for that presentation. The purpose of the presentation is to help our client to understand insurance. We came in, we're not that insurance salesman that just comes in, write insurance, run out the door, and the client gets their policy back, throw it in the nightstand drawer, and they don't look at it till somebody dies. That's not the way we do. We want them to understand insurance. Why do we want them to understand? Because if someone else comes back behind us and says, oh, you didn't buy the kind that you can borrow from, or, oh, you don't build up any income in there, then see, you don't have a foundation for what you did, because all you did was came and sold insurance. So they didn't know that they bought term insurance. So we want to make sure that when we're doing our presentations, when we're talking to our clients, that we want them to fully understand, because they're not going to remember everything that you told them. But what we want them to understand is basically the difference between what we do and what everybody else does. So I'm going to take the actual presentation. Everybody uses a different one. I know if I looking at the screen, if I asked everybody on this screen, there's like 37 people. I bet there's at least 15 different presentations. What you think, George?
Might be, it might be 50 different presentations.
It might be. And some people might not even use one at all,
Right.
Because, but listen, let me tell you something. Guys, my strong suggestion is to use a presentation. Primerica has a 4-page, Primerica has a 6-page, Primerica has a 40-something page. Find one that works. I primarily plug into the one that Charles does. I use all Primerica slides so that I know I'm compliant. So that's probably the easiest way. If you go on POL on demand, and you can go in there and you can look at all the different Primerica presentations. You don't have to use every single page, but at least you know that the pages are compliant. I hope that makes sense. You know that they are compliant, okay? And excuse me. So what I'm gonna do, excuse me, Brandon, can I share my screen? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
Wonderful, thank you. How are you this morning? with that new agent you got over there with a Series 6 license.
That's right. I'm doing wonderful.
Okay. I'm not going to go through every page of the presentation, but what I want to do is talk about certain pages that I think every presentation should have in it. Does that make, is that, I hope that's clear. The first page, of course, see, this is our brand. This is our brand. So you want to be, whether you're wearing it on your clothes, whether my license plate actually have, my license plate has going around it, you know, freedom lives here. And the other day I was at the grocery store and a guy, an older white gentleman pulled up behind me. He said, "Are you still in Primerica?" I said, yes. So of course I heard his Primerica story. So you see, people really do read that kind of stuff because he read my license plate. Okay. So this is our brand. So the more we put it out there, because we don't advertise, it becomes that symbol that people easily recognize. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I've seen that before. So that page is actually our brand. This next page is our credibility page. See, most people regard Primerica as an insurance company. Primerica is not an insurance company. That's one of our subsidiaries, but it's not. Primerica itself is the largest independent financial services marketing company, which means we market products in North America with 100 and now I think that number is somewhere like a little over 135,000 hours. I know we're getting close to 140.
Yeah.
So they update these pages periodically in the downloads that I was just talking about. So we have 134,000 licensed representatives. This gives me the opportunity to ask the client, have you heard of us? See, because with 134,000 of us around, you may have seen us. Someone may have talked to you about us before. Then the next one is that we have more than 7 million clients through our insurance and investments. That's kind of the way I present it. And I'm gonna jump back for just a second. I wanna say this. When I start my presentation, one of the things that I suggest to my client is I say, please don't regard this as a presentation, but as a conversation, because I want you to feel you can ask me questions. So I like starting it out that way. It kind of puts everybody in a relaxed mode. They don't think that I'm just going to talk at them, that I want to talk to them, okay? So with 7 million clients between insurance and investments, that again shows us strength. Now, here's the things that should be important to you, Mr. and Mrs. Client. See, it doesn't matter that we have 135,000 licensed representatives. They're not yours, right? And it doesn't matter we got 7 million clients because they're not yours right now. You notice my conversation is not about them buying insurance right now. My conversation is about recruiting. See, I know that if I go for the recruit and miss the recruit, I'll catch the sale, okay? So, but if you go in just for the sale, you'll miss the recruit. So then here's the things that should be important to you. We're listed on the New York Stock Exchange. What does that mean? That means that we have the financial credibility to be able to be traded publicly. That means you could go to your broker, buy stock in Primerica. We've been in business since 1977. We're coming up on 40, I think it's 44 years, 44 years. You know, and so that again shows that we are there. We've been there. In 2019, we paid out over 15,000 claims. That means we paid out over $1.4 billion to our clients. See, because when people buy insurance, guess what? They're not there to see if we deliver. They gone. So they need to know that we're going to be there. So that's why they put on there that we've paid out the 15,000 claims, that it was $1.4 billion. Again, those pages are important. The next page that I really think you should include in your presentation is this one, the mission statement. Our mission is to help more families. Our mission is to earn more income. You notice they made recruiting first. Earn more income and become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. Now, Carletta, which of those pages are most important to you? Which of those numbers are most important to you?
Earn more income.
Earn more income. Great. See, now I just made a mental note that she said earn more income. So my focus in my presentation is going to be talking to her about how we help people and we get compensated to do so. The next page that I think is absolutely important is this one. One of the things that I want to establish here is understanding that banks are nothing but a middleman. They're not in the business of making us money. They're only in the business of making their shareholders money. So Carletta, what we do is we help our clients to go out and instead of placing their money into a bank, okay, because banks only act as a middleman. Carletta, who is the banks in the business of making money for? Themselves, okay? And Carletta, you answered me just the way a typical client would. They're not going to say they're shareholders. They're not going to say that. They're going to say themselves because they're not familiar with that. So then what we do is we show them how to go out and bypass the middleman and invest their money out in the global economy. Now, Carletta, we know that historically, banks, credit unions, and insurance companies pay very low rates of return. Which one of these do you currently use?
Well, I have a bank account and I buy life insurance from a company.
Really? So on the bank account, do you have a checking or savings or both?
I have both.
Both. Very good. Guess what I just did?
Qualified her.
I've just figured out, see, I don't want to get to the end, do a dynamic presentation and they say, yes. And then I say, now, who do you have? What's your routing number? Oh, I got a green dot. I don't want to hear that. Okay. See, so you want to establish on this page whether they have a checking or savings account or both. And now she also just told me she has insurance. So again, mental note. And if you don't have a good memory, write yourself a note down on a piece of paper. Okay. Then the next page that I think, see, all I want to do, I want to establish here, she got a checkbook. Okay. Right here is about the high cost of waiting. Don't hesitate. Whether you want to start, to accumulate a certain amount of money, the more interest you get, the more you can accumulate. Now I'm going to jump down to the rule of 72. Guys, this is one of the biggest things. If I didn't understand nothing else, I understood the rule of 72 early on. The rule of 72, like Brandon said yesterday, it applies to recruiting. Brandon, when you were talking about that yesterday, I thought about my mom and daddy. Okay. Why did I think about my mom and daddy? My mom and daddy, between them, had 5 children. Between those 5 children, this is how compounding goes. Those 5 children, they have 16 grandchildren. From the 16 grandchildren, they got 22 greats. God darn it, didn't nobody even tell us how to do all that. We just kept on going, right? See, my mom and them didn't give a class on how to compound interest, but we figured it out, right? So
Figured it out.
Figured it out. See, the rule of 72 goes like this. Whether you're getting 3, 6, or 12% interest on $10,000, it's still the same amount of investment. But the end result is where we're at. Do the banks historically give you at least 3% return? Most people are going to say no. Well, what do you think your bank is giving you? I don't know. Well, who do you bank with? Bank of America. Well, they're probably giving you about 1% or less. But we're going to use 3%. So at 3%, it has 2 doubling periods. You end up with 40, then 6, then 12. I don't need to go through that part. You guys know it. But here's the key that I like to use on this page. Would your friends and family, Brandon, benefit from learning about the rule of 72?
Absolutely, they would.
So again, what did I just do? I'm recruiting, but I'm also teaching, but I'm recruiting. See, I'm asking those questions. I'm taking it away from Brandon making a decision about life insurance to Brandon making a decision about the thing that Carletta said was most important, earning more income. And so I'm following that path. She said, I want to earn more money. So now with your friends and family benefit, what does that help you to do, Brandon? It helps you. So when your client says, well, y'all gonna give me a list of people to talk to? Do I get leads? No, we said friends and family. Isn't that right? We established that early on. This page, if you've ever dealt with an end of term client, this is absolutely the most important concept when you're dealing with the end of term clients. The theory of decreasing responsibility. Don't bypass this page. Don't just breeze through it. This page is so important because you want to establish for your client that you don't need insurance your whole life. One of these slides actually says at the bottom, we're the only company that lets you know you don't have to buy insurance your whole life. See, when you're young and you've got young kids and you're debt higher, don't you think people's mortgages still have to be paid? See, talking third party rather than say you. So talking third party. Listen, when out in the early years, aren't we dealing with young families? We got higher debt, mortgages to be paid, and the loss of our income would be devastating. And I like how I hear you guys now say, so at this point, you need to buy money. How do you buy money? By buying life insurance. So you buy life insurance to put in place so that you can create an immediate estate in the event that you pass away. And while you're young, isn't it more difficult to save and accumulate wealth? Well, when you start, remember I said earlier, when you start saving and accumulating money, as you get older, your need for insurance will start to go away. Why? Because now your kids are grown, your debt is lower, and your mortgage is paid. So now we need to have cash. So isn't it more important that at this point that people don't run out of money before they run out of life? See, we got to make sure that we don't run out of money. Can we spend our own life insurance? So since we can't spend our own life insurance, we got to have a nest egg. We got to have some light switches coming on when we're no longer earning money. So this is why we call it the theory of decreasing responsibility. When you're young, you've got to buy a lot of life insurance, but as you get older, it will start to diminish because at that point, it's important that you start accumulating money out here when you're younger. The next one that I like is this one. I don't know if you guys know this. This was actually something Charles created, was the 5 stages of life. He presented it to the company when they were asking the SNSD what would they like to see change about the presentation, and Primerica incorporated this into their presentation. Why is this important? Because each of us, I'm looking across the top of my screen, and each of us might be at different stages of life. See, when you're young and you've got to accumulate money, see, you're saving for the future. Things like, a home or a vacation, maybe a better home. Because if you notice, she's pregnant. So see, they're looking at starting a family. So their needs are different. They're in the accumulation phase. The next phase is protection. Why protection? See them 2 little babies right there? See, if something happens to one or the other of them, they need to have insurance in place so that it replaces their income. It's not about burying people. If that was the case, man, look, if people died without life insurance, going down Natural Bridge and Kings Highway should be jam-packed because there's a bunch of folks, a bunch of dead bodies should be laying there because people don't have insurance. But see, we want to make sure we replace income, because that family still has to survive if one of the breadwinners dies. The next phase is protecting retirement, because now they're working, they're accumulating, they got 401ks, they got all kinds of things going on, but then we want to help them to protect their retirement against market volatility, taxation, and inflation. We want to protect them. How do we do that? We use annuities. We use annuities to help them protect it. And then the next phase is that the longevity. This is where we want to make sure that we don't let them run out of money before they run out of life. So that's when they're in the income phase of their annuity. So the annuity start to pay them out income. And then the next one is the legacy. What are we going to leave for our families? Gary Carnegie says, Broke people leave bills and wealthy people leave wheels. See, I'd like to think that you'd want your picture over the mantle that they say, my Aunt Carletta, my Uncle Brandon changed my life because of what he did. My grandma did this or my grandpa did that. See, again, we want to make sure that we're the ones that they talk about that changed our lives. Okay. This next one. This is where, remember at the beginning, I said we are a marketing company. Well, we market products. You heard of Amazon, Walmart? Well, guess what? They're distributors. We're a distributor. What do they distribute? Because they make nothing. There's no product that you get that says made by Amazon. You know, you don't get something made by Walmart. So what we are a marketing company. The only companies we own are right here. We own our insurance companies. Why? Because we want to make sure that they're done the way that we want it done. We don't want any requirements on us to tell us we got to sell whole life and all that crap. So then here, but we offer 401s, annuities, managed accounts, mutual funds. And I do go through the companies. I name a couple of them. I don't do them all. Why do we have legal protection? Because we want to make sure that you have that will in place so that you don't just leave a bill. We want you to put that will in place. Long-term health care. Then right here, we have auto and home solutions. And then now we're into the mortgage industry. But you see here, we are the Walmart or the Amazon of the financial world. We are, because we distribute the products and services that help our clients. I love John and Mary. I call them John and Mary. And for a second, I'm going to do something here. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, slideshow from the current slide. Okay, now here's John and Mary. John and Mary each making $3,500 a month. So they live in a pretty comfortable life, bringing in $7,000 a month. But then they're spending $7,000. Most people live at or above their means. So see, they got a mortgage to pay, car insurance, car note, car insurance, credit cards, utilities, groceries, childcare. And what do you hear them say? Man, I just don't have the money. I don't have the cash to pay. But for life insurance, I got it at my job, right? But see here, John and Mary living a comfortable life. The little girl looks pretty happy too. But then what happens, we got to look at what is the most important thing that John and Mary bring into the home. Now, you can say love. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all one Leoism. I told y'all before, she said, that's my mama. She said, romance without finance is a nuisance. Okay.
Amen.
So see, she said, it's my mama. Okay. So see, the most important thing that we bring into our home, it's not love, it's not religion, it's none of those things. Those are tangible. The real deal is we bring in the money. We got to bring money home. Okay. But see, then one day suddenly John's driving down the highway and unfortunately has an accident and he doesn't make it home. Well, does Mary still have a mortgage to pay? Well, yeah. Fortunately, John's car was insured. His car was insured because they paid for car insurance. So guess what? Mary got a new car sitting on the driveway because they paid for John's car, but John's paycheck wasn't insured. His paycheck didn't get insured. So she does not get to replace his income. So now Mary is left financially devastated. She got to pay $7,000 worth of bills off of $3,500 of income. I think her mortgage is going to change. She probably not going to be able to stay in the same house. Her daughter probably can't go to the same school. Her credit cards are going to start getting bad on her, right? So that means the credit's going to get bad. See, I believe that if John had thought about it, a car is not as important as John. A car is a depreciating asset while John is an appreciating asset. So John should have protected his life. And then, Mary would not have been devastated when John went away. This is the 3 reasons people buy insurance: protection, an emergency fund, college education. That's usually the 3 reasons that people do. So we go through those 3 reasons. What does the protection do? What is the emergency fund? What is a college fund? Then here's where I break down whole life. I know that I believe that when we first started out in the business, probably about 80% of the people that we talked to had some kind of insurance. Now, about 92% of people that we talk to don't have insurance. That's kind of weird that people don't have it. But why do I still want to explain it? It's just like a kid with a toy. You know, a toy sits in the closet forever. The kid don't never even play with it. But as soon as somebody pull that toy out, everybody wants, you know, the kid suddenly that's their favorite toy, right? And that's the way it goes. They all of a sudden want that toy. Well, when you sit down with a client, they have no coverage, and then you put your policy in place, all of a sudden somebody else seems like they come along and they want to tell them about whole life. Well, you know, my aunt said that I should have got the one that you with the cash value. My uncle said, can I borrow from it? See, it's all kind of crap that happens out there, right? So make sure that you have a page in your presentation where you break down the difference between whole life and term, and be effective. Spend time on that page. Make sure, ask questions of your client. What, you know, which one would you want? Would you rather have 500,000 at retirement or 124,000? Would you rather have 400,000? And I always ask, like I go, now, you know, Carletta, congratulations on your marriage to Brandon. Okay, Carletta, if Brandon were to pass away, would you rather have 150 or 400,000?
400.
400. Brandon, if Carletta passes away, would you rather have 150? Because you don't need her income?
No, I need her income, 400,000.
400,000. See, see, I let the client say it, because if they say it, it becomes the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to say it, because if I say it, they might not decide that that's really what they need. But if they say it, then it is what they believe. Okay. So I do spend time. I only use 2 other opinions. I use these 2 because they were relatively new. January 3rd, 2020. They said many financial experts recommend term insurance for the average family. That was on money.com, the best life insurance of 2020. Then Susie Orman, everybody knows her name, right? In my opinion, there's only one kind of life insurance that makes sense for the vast majority of us, term life insurance. I use those 2. They're easy. They're not, you know, too complicated. One of the things, please, please, please don't complicate. Don't try to impress people with everything that you know. You feel like they'll feel like you're throwing up on them, trying to tell them everything that you know. Don't teach them all of it at one day. Don't do that. That's just not good. Okay. You really confuse people, and then when they get confused, they don't make decisions. I have the dime in my presentation. Here's my last page that I want to talk about. No, one more behind this. I ask, is it important to you to leave a legacy for the next generation? Most people say yes. Is protecting your family's income important to you? I want to put WFA on there, but you know, it wouldn't look good when you're doing a presentation, so I wait. If they don't answer, I ask it again. Carletta, is it important? Is protecting your family's income important to you? Carletta.
Oh, that's what the client does. And then if you speak first, you lose.
Yeah, they be sitting there like. So, okay, Carletta, is protecting your family's income important to you?
Yes, it is.
How are you protecting your family's income now?
Well, after looking at some of this stuff, I'm not sure if I'm protected it very well. I have life insurance, but I don't have enough.
Okay, so when would you like to know that your family's income is fully protected? Would you like to know now or a year from now?
Well, I think that now would be better, because I don't know what's going to happen a year from now. There might be another COVID or something.
Guys, you know what? No one has ever told me a year from now. No one's even said 6 months from now. Most people say now. But see, we don't really want to ask those questions. Why? Because you feel that they're very direct. You just did an awesome presentation. Now you want to summarize it right here, right? And then here's the next question. what dollar amount would you feel comfortable working with on a weekly or monthly basis? The only reason why I added monthly was because one of my teammates is a school teacher, so they all get paid monthly. So I threw that in there, okay? Because Charles just says weekly. So I asked, what dollar amount would you feel comfortable working on a weekly or monthly basis to begin the process of protecting your family's income? I wait for an answer. If they tell me $100, I say, so you're comfortable with working with $400? Okay, if they say $30, whatever the number that I say, you're comfortable working 120, whatever, because see, when you do that, it takes it when they said $100, then you say, well, 400. Oh, no, I meant $100 a month. Y'all know that's happened to us. They say, oh, no, I meant 100 a month. But at least get the number. Carletta, what's the saying that you say when you say we spend from our own pocketbooks? What's that?
Don't shop from your own pocketbook.
Right. Don't shop from your own pocketbook. Don't come up with a number for them. Let them give you the number. Don't come up. And then if they give you a number, one of your proposals should be that number. It should be right in the range of that number. And okay, you might not have been able to give them all the insurance that they needed based on their dime, but show them what they can afford. And then in your ABC, you can show them where their true need is and what it will cost. Maybe they'll work towards that. That's a great opportunity to talk about the increasing benefit rider, but at least start them right here by what they say that they want or they need, okay? My presentation is a little bit different because when I get to right here and they tell me they want a financial needs analysis, I click right there and my Primerica pops up. I know I'm cool like that. And then if I do this one, my Turbo Apps pops up. My Primerica pops up and I go into Turbo Apps. So that's how my presentation is set up. Okay. Anybody got any questions for me?
No, I just got a comment. That was awesome. You talked about the whole life part, how you referred it to a toy and a kid. That was smooth. I like that, Iris. And then,
I can't wait to put that man out the room, Rodney. So I'm waiting on you, okay?
Yeah,
I'll let you know the day I do
You
it.
put him out the picture on your presentation. You almost.
I put him out the picture.
But also though, it adds more value to what we bring to the table. And then what I found out is most of our people don't have no idea. They call it whole term. What kind you got? That whole term? So just the education part of it, period, is something that we got to give our people. That's what makes us different from any other country.
Exactly.
That's
what separates us from the masses, because we're there to educate them so that they make an informed decision. And when they make an informed decision, back in Rodney, when we had to go out on agent confrontations, I know Darla, Carletta, George Allen, remember, when we went out on agent confrontation, see, we didn't lose because we had prepped the client. We didn't lose. And George was playing that video about confidence. Our knees might have been shaking under the table, but our mouth was on fire, because look, he couldn't see my knees shaking. I might have been scared, but I told myself that I knew I was right. That's why your presentation should re-recruit you every time you do it. That's how dynamic your presentation should be, that you'd recruit yourself.
Say that again.
You got to believe in what you're doing. When I say these words, guys, I'm not saying them because this is written on a piece of paper. I'm saying these things because I believe it. And what comes from your heart will come through your mouth and with the right words. You got to know that you're doing the right thing. You got to know that anybody that comes behind you is not going to do as good of a job as you do. That's what I firmly believe. Yes, ma'am.
When you're recruiting, if you're working with a recruit, it also reconfirms to that recruit of why they stayed there, because sometimes the person is still shaky, even though they've come into business, but they're still shaky about the information. So this doesn't do anything but just confirm in their minds as well. So a lot of times when I'm doing a presentation to a person and I got a new recruit with me, I'm really making that presentation to the new recruit.
And I tell you something, Carletta, one of the things, and I'm sure DC, you'll agree with me on this. When you got a new recruit sitting there with you, you perform better.
Oh yeah.
You know, you might be practicing a drill in training class, but in front of a client, you are performing. And you don't want to let that recruit down. See, if I'm out there with Vivian, I don't want her to think that I'm not as good as Charles. I want her to say, Iris, I want you to go with me next time. I didn't know you knew that. See, I don't want y'all to think, look, Charles is good, but he's not as good as you.
Right.
You got to believe that. George is good. He's not as good as you. You are as good, if not greater. And you got to believe that. Now, George might be able to answer some more questions that you can't answer. But when it comes from speaking from your heart, you ain't speaking from George's heart, you're speaking from yours.
Come on now. Come on.
We need to put you in the package and start selling this.
Right. Let's open up the box.
I need a
Let's open
12
up the
pack of
box.
that.
Hold on, let me get a basket. Let me.
Give me a 12 pack of that.
12 pack of Iris.
So, guys, you know, what I did is I wanted to just capture certain pages of the presentation. I know that, you know, you can get pretty dynamic, but here's the thing. People only remember about 21 minutes of what you talk about. Don't make your presentation so long you ain't got time to write an app or do an IBA. Because if you take that long, they like, can you come back tomorrow?
Come on.
And then when you come back tomorrow, they say, I've been thinking about it. Because you lost the emotion. And they're thinking, man, he want me to go out with him. It took 2 hours. And I ain't got 2 hours. See, you want to keep that minimum. So you want to show them how they can go out and make this extra $300 to $500 a month using an hour at a time. Remember, begin with the recruiting in mind. Always to recruit. Your best client is a recruit. Your best recruit is a satisfied client. It goes both ways. Keep going to recruiting.
Iris.
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't you agree that the triplicate of choice is a good page to recruit on also?
The triplicate of choice.
It's a shortfall page also, a good page to recruit on.
Triplicate of choice, help me.
A good page to recruit on, because if they have a shortfall,
okay,
knowing they need to, you know, make some extra income in order to be able to cover,
yes,
you know, make sure. And
you're talking about in the financial needs and that. Oh God, I love that financial. The short one, is it called a mobile?
No, what
FNA?
I'm saying is from your triplicate of choice page. I know it's the quotes, but a lot of people are probably looking at, well, this is what my family needs. But, you know, it's a little steep, but that's an opportunity for us to put their coverage in place, but also have an opportunity to make an extra income in order to achieve making sure their families are properly protected.
Yes, and that's why I said, even in the mobile FNA, it brings up that shortfall. It shows you where your shortfall is, and you can turn around. I mean, listen, guys, there's not a page in our presentation that isn't good for recruiting. It's what you got to be saying to them. Mm-hmm. What are you saying to them? If you're just thinking of what you're going to make on the back end, all you're going to do is talk about buy. But if you're wanting to bring them in, remember, when you bring in a person, you're not getting ready to make a sale. You're going to have an opportunity to make multiple sales, because you have a whole new natural market. Remember that when we talked Brandon last week? See, you want a whole new natural market, then every time you talk to somebody, go out there with the intent of being able to recruit them. That's a whole new natural market. Even if you don't bring them in as a recruit, if you do such a dynamic presentation, then you can ask for referrals, because what you did for them, they're willing to give you referrals. So you can do your beneficiary. But remember, you gotta go in with the intent of what you're gonna do to change the world. That's what we're going in to do. We're going to change the world, dude. I mean, look, I don't give a darn what's going on in the White House. My son said it don't make a difference in my house. I said, okay. So we got to go change the world ourselves. We got to go out to our neighbors, our friends, and our family, and let people stop dying without life insurance.
Right.
Because it's one thing for sure. You may have an accident. You may get sick, but for damn sure you're gonna die.
That's right.
Everything else is a maybe.
Ooh. You know, a guy told me one time, you better get used to 3 things, young man. I was on an appointment many years ago. I've been on a lot of appointments, but I had never had a conversation. Say 3 things you better get used to. You're gonna always have to pay tax, adopt the change, and one day you're gonna die. When I figured that out, I've been rocking and roll.
You're gonna die. You know, that's why I say in my presentation, I don't say if you die, when you die.
That's right.
When, because it's going to happen. We don't know if it's today, tomorrow, or like my Uncle Howard at 95. I don't know. But it's going to happen. And that's what we protect ourselves against. Anybody got any questions for me? George, I turn it back over to you.
Well, Iris, that was incredible. And I'm sure people took a lot of notes. And it was on time too, because the Insurance Crusade is alive and well. And, you know, I like all the points that you shared. I think Brandon recorded it, so we'll be able to look at it later on.
George.
Yes, sir.
I was having some technical, it just wiped out, and I was having some issues, but I wanted to make a comment. Wonderful job, Mother. Great information. I also wanted to say is, look, no matter how great the presentation is, you can't be mundane in giving it, because you can't be reading nobody no bedtime story. They'll start going to sleep on you. You know what I mean? And so you have to hit those points. You have to be energetic. You have to make sure, you know, practice is very important. You can't just be reading to them. Because, you know, hey, you'll doze off in the slide. They'll doze off in the slide. You'll be sitting there looking at them, going to sleep with their attention. Hey, you got to learn tricks. You got to call their name, right? You got to keep them. You can't just read through the script or whatever. Like Iris said, it has to be a conversation. But you got to give an exciting presentation. You got to hold their attention.
It's called passion.
Hey, Chuck, I don't know if you noticed. I mean, I really wanted to just explain the slides, but just in getting into them, all of a sudden you get like, you know, it's just embedded in it. All of a sudden you get excited. You don't sound like you know, like mundane. You know, you get, I mean, you get caught up in the moment. And I think you absolutely should. You know, somebody put in the chat, don't forget to ask for the sale. You know, we used to always say, don't forget, did you get a check? Did you ask for the check? I think our presentation, especially when you're on those last 2 pages, how much can you spend? That is asking for us. That is right. And when we said, when do you want to know when you're protecting your family? Now or a year from now? Those are without saying, Carletta, you want to buy this for me?
Closing, right? Exactly.
Those closing techniques.
Yes,
in the presentation.
Listen, people don't want to be sold.
It got to be dramatic, man.
They want to buy. They don't want to be sold.
That's us. That's us.
I mean, isn't that true?
Yes.
Nobody wants to be sold. I am not a used car salesman. I want people to buy, because when they make the decision, it's correct. Okay.
That's right. I'm not selling you nothing. I'm telling you something. I'm educated. I'm not selling you. I'm telling you. This is what's gonna happen. You ain't got no. You think you don't have no plan, but listen to what I just heard. Now we know your plan. So if they decide not to,
go through these beautiful presentations. Too often we go through these beautiful presentations and get to the end of it and don't close it. Don't ask for the sale. So a lot of people do that. That's why I put it in there.
I think, Sharon, what I'm saying is, you know, yes, I agree. When I do a presentation, I want to check on the end. I want to check. I do. But it's about what we want to do is put in people's head. You don't have to ask for the sale. Your process should lead to the sale. Hopefully that makes sense. Your process should lead to a close. See, you don't just close on the last page. You're closing on almost the pages I showed you, you're closing.
Every
So I'm
page.
getting you to do a
All
lot
the
of
pages.
little yeses. So at the end, you could make that other small decision.
Hey, if somebody say they want to know now, that's a close. You
That's
got
a
to go
close.
in with the attitude is, okay, well, we putting something in place. Let's do your numbers, and you pick a choice, and we submitting this today.
And just like when I asked Carletta, do you use a
That's
checking or
closing.
savings account or both? She said both. Will we be using your checking account?
Let me get your ID to start.
And that is closing.
That is closing.
Right.
What's the routing number of your
Right.
bank?
And like I said, let me get your
Okay.
ID to start closing this property. Let me get your driving license so we can start closing this paperwork.
You gonna
Yes,
need
sir.
your driver's
Hey, great.
license. You
Listen,
gonna need
guys,
your
y'all
routing
see
and
y'all
account
throwing it out
information.
there.
I'm
What's your
telling you.
address?
Huh?
That's how you
That's
close.
it.
That's what we do.
Right.
Iris, I think what she was saying, I think that what she was referring to, and I saw this early on in my business. Sometimes it depends on what you're going into the house for. If you know that you're going into that house to help that person, sometimes people go in there just so they say, whoa, I got through my presentation. And then they sit back. You know, so I think that's what she's referring to, a sort of kind of, because like you said, every page really asked for that sale without asking for that sale. You know, so you just can't go in there and say, man, I'm just gonna get through this presentation. And then when you get at the end, you say, whoa, I got through that, and then you get up and leave.
Hey,
You know, you can't do that. You gotta ask for that.
they ain't through their training yet. They shouldn't be by themselves.
Exactly.
Right.
No, that's
You do the
real.
They call
presentation.
that
I'ma
professional
close this thing
presenting.
out.
You know, the thing is
Professional
that you want to
presenting.
make sure that, listen, when you go out and you do a presentation and you come back to the office, you say, I just did 4 presentations. How many did you close? I didn't do none, but man, I did an awesome presentation. No, you didn't.
Exactly.
No, you didn't. Did you? See, when I did bad presentations, I got a check. When I didn't know what the heck I was doing, I got a check. Because I knew Charles was only going to ask me, did you get the check?
That's right. And the next question was, did they join the business?
Yeah, exactly. And here, see this, guys. Sharon, I agree with you 100%. Too many people do presentations and don't get a check. They're afraid to ask for the closing. See, they want to skip the page that says, when do you want to know? Now or a year from now? They say that don't make sense. That's stupid. I don't want to do that. You just missed an opportunity. They don't want to ask, is in protecting your family's income important to you? They say, I don't want to say that. That sounds stupid. See, but there is a purpose for each of those questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Huh?
Now that's shopping from your pocketbook.
Right. Yeah.
Like when people tell me that black folks don't have no money, I tell them, now you don't have no money.
You don't have none. See, but black folks got some money. Listen, in our old applications, I remember when we had to ask, you said in the last 10 years, have you had da-da-da-da-da? Well, one of the questions was syphilis and gonorrhea. And I'd want to whisper that, but like, I wanted to whisper, but I learned to ask for the social security number like I would the date of birth. I used to ask the gonorrhea and syphilis question just like I did the height and weight. See, listen, you got to ask the question, how much can you comfortably afford to set aside? Don't say afford. Don't say afford. That's an insult to someone. How much can you afford? I can afford whatever the heck I want.
That's right. You
see, ask how much are you comfortable with setting aside on a weekly or monthly basis to protect your family's income. There's a purpose for these guys, the way they're written. Because how many of you are, come on, be honest, have said afford? I've done it before. That's an insult to people. Don't ask them how much can you afford? How much can you set aside?
Amen.
Right? We got to be very careful, guys.
That's
Words
right.
are so powerful and they sting. They sting.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to the store and when they say, if something goes on in the store, you say, well, I'll let you do it this time. I'll look at you like no, you're going to let me do it next time too. You know, I don't like people to give me those are stinging words. I don't like when I'm at the deli counter and I was there first and a white person walk up behind me and they go, who's next? Those words sting. So you want to make sure you don't sting somebody by asking them how much can they afford. And then the next question, when I'm doing my dime, how old is that little boy? How old is that one right there? He's so cute. The one right there with the little Tonka truck, how old is he? Oh, he's 2. My mind, I'm knowing you need at least 20 to 25 years level. That's what my mind says, because we got to get him through school. Right? So see, that's why when I walk in a house, where I used to, I'd find there's something in that house that I knew they were proud of, whether it was a family portrait up on the wall or a trophy sitting there. I said, man, that is beautiful. Oh, your home is so beautiful. I found something to get them to relax so that we can hold our conversation. Okay, George, it's time for real. You can take it.
Well, I'm sure there might be some more comments. Because it's very interesting, and you pointed on some things. I noticed you said when you asked about not being mundane, that was Chuck who said that. That's important. That's a never-ending battle. In fact, because you get bored with the presentation, you could be giving it in a boring fashion. So I say tape it a lot of times. And then that gonorrhea and syphilis question, you know, there's nothing like when you used to be at the table, you could start a fight right there at that table. Who's gonna be the beneficiary? And that gonorrhea and syphilis question, that could mess up your whole sale.
Hey man, that was before my time, man. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Mine too.
Yeah, they be mad at each other. Yeah, my mama gonna be the beneficiary. No, my mama gonna be the beneficiary.
Now that's the fight.
Tons of war.
Now that's the fight, George. That's the fight, the beneficiaries.
Gonna be the beneficiary. Then them jokers charge back 3 months later. You be like, damn, I worked hard on this sale to get you all, and you all arguing over who's gonna be the beneficiary. So that was some good stuff. And we appreciate that. And it keeps moving us in a direction. Now, are our special guests coming tomorrow, Iris?
Yes, Nat, yes.
Okay. All right, good. Now, what some of us have done, and I just want to inform the rest of you about it. A while back, we used to do what's called the Daniel fast, 1 day a week. And at that time, we ate no bread, no meat, no sweets, no dairy, doing it from sun up to sundown. And that was focusing on our lives, things that we wanted to do, you know, fasting is connected to that, but also on our business too. So it's not where you can't eat, it's just that you're selective about what you eat. No meats, no sweets, no dairy, and I may be missing something. But we're gonna do that from sun up to sundown on Wednesdays. You're welcome to join us in that process. I know that in the past it has helped me tremendously. A lot of churches do it for 21 days where they don't do it and it's round the clock. But we made it simpler for those of us because it's hard to give up the meat and them sweets. So we don't want nobody going crazy and avoiding this whole process. So that's on Wednesdays from sun up to sundown. And you know, it gets dark early. So you want, well, you're eating so you don't starve to death, you're just eating right. And then we have a special guest tomorrow morning, which is going to be good too. And so I encourage you to get on tomorrow morning because it's going to be real exciting and pumped up and all that. Leaders, did I leave out anything? Oh, the RVP meetings are tomorrow. Am I correct? Tomorrow afternoon?
Yes.
Are they tomorrow or today?
Well,
Thursday is tomorrow.
Okay, I
Yeah,
think ours is today.
Yeah, ours is tomorrow. Trying to think the time slots. I think it's 2:30 to 5:30 or something.
Mm-hmm.
2:30 to 5:30 for the RVP.
And you know, when I used to be in Charles Bay shop, now he taught me this. I would find me a way to get on that. So I'll just leave it at that. And so that meeting is tomorrow afternoon. And so that should be exciting too. So does anybody have anything else? Anything that we missed?
And
Hey,
then
George, I wanted to address some of the questions that came up.
Okay.
And Charlotte said that you can use green dot now for drafts. Okay. I still am scared of those, but okay.
Yeah, it
that's a good
works.
thing.
I use it for 2.
Yeah.
My
I
own.
like that. I know people know how to handle a checking account. You know, I'd be scared of
Right.
things like
Hey,
I
you
want to know
can
they
you
know how
can
to handle.
you can
checking
use
account.
Cash App.
Huh?
You can
you can
use
use
Cash
Cash
App, but hey, I don't know about how strong that is, but you can
Yeah,
use
like I
Cash
said,
App.
I'm one
It's
that
the
I like
same thing
checking and
Right.
savings accounts.
because they got to remember. They
then-
got to remember to reload the dang thing every month
That-
and all that
See,
stuff.
Brandon, that's what I'm talking about. See, I like
certain
those
banks.
families that do automatic deposit of their check and do automatic drafts out their check. Okay, I like that kind.
I like
Then the other question was,
Hey,
Norman Holman
hey,
said,
Iris, before you go to that, on that, what we've always been taught is if you take on a client like that, whether they're using Cash App or they got a questionable banking source, or if you wonder if they'll pay their premium, you have to take it upon yourselves. Now, when we were out in the field, we would have to go pick. There are some agents who literally pick up premiums.
That's right.
every month. And so you taking on that responsibility when you see that person as a question. You don't just do that Cash App client. I don't know what green dot is, but the green dot client, and assume that everything will be okay. You're a business person. And so what you got to do is follow up in some kind of way to make sure that that premium is paid, not only for them, but for yourself also. So I want to interject that, Iris. That when
hey, George, let me tell you what I did. I actually have 2 clients in my phone that on the date that I know they need to put money in there, it sends me a reminder to call them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that for 13 months. I'm just telling you. Because
I got
it does.
one as well.
I put a reminder in my phone. It automatically sent it for as many months as I told it. And I actually pick up the phone and say, hey, don't forget to make your deposit, because I don't want that to come back at me.
Yeah,
But
it's just
yeah,
to
green
clarify
dot,
on the
huh?
green dot. So I use that for mine.
Okay.
And you can direct deposit that to from your paycheck, just like you
Okay.
can any other bank. So that's how I use it. I started using that for because I've been compromised.
It has
stuff. But
evolved
anyway,
in Charlotte quite a bit.
If you gotta, I'm sorry.
No, I said it has evolved then, because it used to wouldn't let you do it.
Yeah, I've been doing mine for years. So
okay, very good. The other thing is Norman Holman said, how much too much is it? That's usually after when I give a client a proposal and they say, well, that's a little high. Then I may say to that client, Norman, I say, well, how much too much is it? And because they may say about $5. See, because I beat it automatically dropped to 25 or something like that, like Carla said, spending from my pocket. But see, they may only need a $5 or $10 adjustment. So don't you decide how much too much it is. Let them decide how much it is. And that's a great way of asking it, Norman. Thank you. Okay, I think that's all the questions that I saw.
Okay, well, excellent. So we've had a great morning. It's going to be a great day in St. Louis, and we're in for today, but tomorrow, make sure you get on because we have that special guest coming. So,
George, what time do you want her on?
9:15. Will that work? Not 9:15, 8:15.
let's see.
So it must be that medication. At least I can talk today.
Okay. She said, yes, you will be on.
Okay, great. All right then, guys. So you know what I say. I'll see you at the top because the bottom is what?
Too crowded.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Iris.
Sunshine, she's here.